ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SuperCoach Edge and another edition of Damo's Team Talk, this time coming out of round 13, and we are back, of course. For those of you who don't know, we were on a little bit of a self-imposed bye round break, and it was for good reason. You may have seen some of the social posts that we put up announcing it, and for those of you who don't know, it was for a very good reason, because I welcomed into the world my first newborn son, Felix Jackman. Welcome, little man. He is an absolute bundle of joy and literally the cutest baby. I know everyone says this about their own kids, but he is literally the cutest baby I have ever seen. Absolutely gorgeous, and full credit to my wife as well. She has been through a little bit of an ordeal as well, has been the smoothest pregnancy, and she is literally a pillar of strength, physically, emotionally, mentally, everything. So really am in awe, but it's a little bit of a stressful time at the moment as well. I won't get into great detail, but he was born prematurely. He is thankfully going well, and he is in the neonatal intensive care unit at the moment. So a lot of commuting back and forth and spending time with him and everything else and whatnot. But it was for a very good reason as to why we had the little bit of a break, because outside of the birth, we need a little bit of downtime as well, just to de-stress and mentally brace ourselves for everything else. So really do appreciate all of your patience out there. And likewise, those of you out there as well who saw the social post that I put up, that welcoming into the world the future winner of SuperCoach, and of course, maybe a future host of SuperCoach Edge if he is that way inclined. Of course he will be, because he's going to be the master to the apprentice. I think he's going to be, even though he is the apprentice on the master, he's going to best me, no doubt. I think he's going to be an absolute gun and a brainiac. So yeah, I mean, those people out there that reached out and congratulated and everything else, sent through well wishes, again, thank you so much. I really do appreciate all of you out there. And it just reminds me of how incredible the, not just the SuperCoach Edge community, but the community of SuperCoach as a whole, how welcoming and incredible and supportive it is. So thank you once again for all of that. But having said all that, apologies for those of you out there who I may have disappointed, that Liam and I may have disappointed because we didn't put out a SuperCoach Edge episode proper for round 13, but also I didn't put out my team talk. And there was someone that commented on last week's video on YouTube being like, hey, where's this week's video? And I had to redirect them to a post that we put up on YouTube, which I don't know many people out there actually know. There's like a post section within the channel itself, within SuperCoach Edge and every other YouTube channel out there, where it's kind of like a bulletin board. So I put it up there and was hopeful that some majority of people would have seen it, but I think it's kind of hidden away there until you actually toggle across to the post section on YouTube on the SuperCoach Edge channel. You wouldn't have seen it. So if you didn't see that, if you didn't see the social post announcing it, and you were sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting for our content to drop, we do apologize. But again, it was for very, very good reason. And end of the day, as much as I love SuperCoach, it gives me a fair bit of perspective that there is much more important things in life. And to have a newborn son is incredible. And I still am coming to terms with, knowing that I am a dad. So very strange. But anyway, ladies and gents, thank you again for all of your support. Let's get into all things SuperCoach, because it was the second bye round. And as it turned out, it wasn't the best bye round, must admit. 1,934 was the score, below par, and as such, ended up sliding 919 spots to now sit just outside the top 10K, 10,629th overall. Not the end of the world, but kind of plateauing. I think this kind of happened last season as well. But as I always say, we kind of have to look at the season, the bye rounds as a collective in terms of assessing how you're going compared to, assessing things week on week when it comes to the buys, because every buy is different. Your team is going to be structured very, very different to other people. As an example, I had 6 primos out on the round just gone. If you compare that to other teams that played well, they might have had 1, 2, 3, 4 extra primos compared to me. Hence the reason why I didn't maybe score as well as what they did. The same may apply to you. So it's not the end of the world, and just kind of give that as a little bit of context for how you're performing from week to week. Let's quickly go through the trades that I made, because obviously I wasn't able to do the team talk last week. So round 12, just as a refresher, we traded out Zach Reed to Whitfield, and Hustwaite went out for Gray for Richmond. Round 13, it was Roberts. He went to Bontempelli. So Roberts was a late out, and I figured that considering he was going to be out for his bye this coming round, around 14, he's going to be out for 2 weeks. Bont allowed me to, have that extra player playing in round 13, whereas I wouldn't have, obviously, with Roberts being injured. But also Roberts was at that higher price point to allow me to get Bont into the team. So happy enough with that. I mean, Bont didn't score as well as what we'd hoped, but he's got a very, very nice fixture coming up. And end of the day, he's Bont. Outside of that, we have Ryan Marich, who made way for Caldwell. Actually profited $900 on that trade, which is quite interesting. But I just couldn't pass up the value with Caldwell. Scoring quite well the back end of last year when he was getting CBAs. He's getting CBAs again this season and playing quite well. So happy enough with that trade. Likewise as well, Levi Ashcroft, he made way for the Dynamo rookie from Essendon in Clark. So made us a fair bit of coin, which we have banked with the objective to bring in the almighty buttery one, the buttery one himself in Zach Butters. So we will get into that in a moment. In terms of scores, so the round before, so round 12, I ended up scoring 1,762 and lost around about nearly 300 spots in total. And then round 13, as I went through, lost about, 900 spots or thereabouts. So, we went into the bye rounds ranked 9,425th. We now need to, or we're aiming to better that rank. So if we can, be placed within the top 9,000 spots at the end of the bye period of round 16, we'll be very happy. So again, just look at the collective side of things. Even though I've dropped around about a collective of, 1,200 spots, roughly. Actually, it'd be 1,204 spots to be exact. We've got to make up that ground over the next 3 weeks and then some as well. So we will count that as a successful bye period if we can increase our rank on that rank that we had heading into the bye period itself. So let's get into things now and go through line by line. So with defenders, Jack Sinclair was on the bye. Lachie Whitfield only scored an 84, and it is awfully frustrating because he's now being played by Kingsley in a stupid position at half forward. Lachie Ash is also cramping his style when he is off half back, but we are hopeful that he will go back to his traditional role and score quite well. But for those of you who don't have him, he is a value price point, but I probably wouldn't touch him yet due to that stupid role that he's got. Dane Zorko, another disappointment here, only scored the 80 and really hasn't flashed the ceiling scores that he has shown in the past. But we just have to grin and bear it. Harry Sheasel is another one. These three guys here, Whitfield, Zorko, and Sheasel, have all been meddled with in terms of role. They've had, down patches, but Sheasel scored a 137 on the weekend, which is good to see, but started the game very, very slowly, and his role has been a merry-go-round from defence, forward, midfield, but we do hope that he continues his scoring from here on out. Matt Carroll ended up playing for Carlton and on field for me, obviously. He was just another warm body, really, in a bye week, so he scored a 30, and as it turned out, it actually counted in my scores because Xavier Lindsay scored the lowest with 19. Cheers, Lindsay. Matt Carroll, even though he didn't score that high, it goes to show that warm bodies actually go some way to helping you out across bye weeks. Now, Clark from Essendon, Angus Clark, ended up scoring a 71, so a very, very, very good score by him. Went up 64.1k in his first price increase and should increase around about roughly 50k, I think, over the next couple of weeks and push himself over the 100 to 110k plus mark in terms of profit. On the bench, Jai Clark had the bye, didn't play, and Sardell Hawley is out through injury. Through the midfield, we have Bont, my new recruit, 101, but as I said, he's got a very, very nice matchup coming in coming rounds. He has St Kilda, who he has scored 159, 125, 125 in his past three against. Then he's got Richmond with recent scores of 135, 153, and 122. And then Sydney with 109, 135, and 131. So now's the time to get Bont. If you haven't got him, he dropped a little bit more in price on the weekend. And even though he's got that break even of 164, I would get him. I would 100% get him if you could, because it's the score on field that counts for more compared to obviously the price point. Lachie Neale scored a 92, and he continues his kind of yo-yoing in score, which is very, very frustrating. These so-called primos in Whitfield, Zorko, Sheasel, Neale, I've got too many of these guys that are just really Jekyll and Hyde in their scoring, but not much we can do about it, really. Max Holmes, he can hold his head high because he scored 152. And an incredible game by him. Went up 35.5K, now has a break-even of ding, 69. And he is still priced fairly reasonably at 555.1K. So if you are a non-owner, I'd think very, very long and hard about getting him into your team, because I think he is going to be a keeper in defense. So his past three scores, 128, 107, and 152. So has gone up around about, 50K over the last 3 weeks. So a very, very nice price point indeed. Adam Chera, 109. Now, he spent a little bit of time off the ground due to a head knock sustained in a little bit of a clash with Sam Durham, and was able to make his way back onto the ground and racked up the pill, which is good to see. He scored the 109, went up 30.9K as well, because his past few weeks have been very, very good. 142, 122, and 109. So he is a keeper for me at this stage. Very, very consistent, which I love to see. Nicky Dacos only scored a 95, and very strange, but he was actually tagged by Langdon from Melbourne. Who would have thought that? But he is in 57.8% of the competition, so in a majority of the competition. So don't worry, don't fret. Whatever he scores, everyone else is riding that wave with you. Jai Caldwell was my other trade-in player and scored very well first up with the 102. Went up 37K as well in price point, and is someone that I think is underrated. Scored quite well in the back part of 2024 as well, when he does get CBAs, and does have a very, very nice role as well. Xavier Lindsay, mentioned him, only scored the 19, got subbed off, and he was actually in my trade plans originally before Roberts was announced as a late out. So it would have been probably better just to hold Roberts and not keep Lindsay, because Lindsay's score didn't count in my team anyway. It dropped out because he was the lowest scorer, and he dropped 13.4K, but them's the breaks. It is time to move him on, though, and we will speak about him in the trade discussion coming up very shortly. Clay Hall didn't play. Caleb Sarong was on the bye. Likewise, McRae, who is returning or recovering from a punctured lung. Hugh Boxall as well is not playing for the Saints, but on the bye nonetheless. Tristan Cherry, 153. Now, this bloke is a constant in our team, just a perma-captain almost. And we all knew that was going to happen against Matt Flynn. Concedes the most scores to opposition rucks. So 153, tip of the old cap to you. Red hot cherry pie. Rowan Marshall also on the bye. Harry Boyd at R3 also on the bye, but not playing. And as for the forwards, Baz Lenker. Now, he was a late out, and a bit of a pain in the ass, really, because it meant that we went from, I think we had 21 players heading into this bye round. Then we had Roberts being out, and then, of course, Baz Lenker. So we went down to around about 19, I think it was. So, yeah, it is what it is. Some people out there traded him. I just think that he's going to be a keeper, so why trade him? And you don't really want to be trading him, considering how well he is scoring. He's almost like trading out a Max Gawn, but, yeah. That was that. Track 115, he scored well enough. Chad Warner has kind of fallen into a little bit of a vortex here, because his past 3 weeks, 84, 58, and 88, not really cutting the mustard there. But we got him into our team at a relative bargain, but he's almost dropping to that bargain price point that we picked him up for. But, Chad Warner, we all know what he's like. He's a barometer, so he will have those up games as well, just to offset those down games. Isaac Rankin, similar as well, scored an 89 on the weekend, but he is a keeper. Caleb Daniel scored a 124 and went up 29.7K, and he's got a break-even of 47 heading into round 14, but really, it's strange to think, like off the back of round 9, heading into round 10, when he was facing Richmond, there was a lot of people that were considering trading him out. I thought briefly about it, and I thought, nah, he's going to go back to scoring quite well. Scored the 51 against Brisbane, but since then has scored 97 against Richmond, 97 against the Pies, and 124 against the Eagles. So has virtually made back the money that he lost over the previous 4 weeks. So he is a very, very nice player and can really score quite easily. Elijah Hewitt, 85. Tip of the cap to you, young lad, because past couple of weeks, 92 and 85, has increased in total about 42, 43K, and has a break even of 14 now, heading into round 14. So he should make us a little bit more coin to the tune of, anywhere between 20 to 24K, but we will gladly take that. And on the bench, we have, unfortunately, Campbell Gray. So for Richmond, he got dropped, played in the VFL, and unfortunately, I think they said he's done his ACL, so will be out for the remainder of the season. So he's going to be, a straightforward, up and up, dead rookie. There's no two ways to butter that up or soften the blow there. So we need to move him on, I think. And Cooper Simpson alongside him is out for an extended period as well, with his, I think it was AC joint injury. And then in the flex, Vicentini rounding things out, scored a 74. I was hopeful that he would have made a little bit more money than what he has at the moment. Has made 66.5K. Not scoring to the same heights as what he did in his first 2 games of 98 and 84. But as we know, playing as a ruck, you will have a bit of a spike in your scores, and they come more often than not. So we will hold on to him, and hopefully he can have a bit of a spike score in weeks to come and make us a little bit more dollary dues. Well, that's how my team looks. That's how I shaped up. Let's get into now a bit of the trade talk. So no surprises here. I think the number one trading candidate, outside of any cash cows, rookies, everything else, has to be that buttery one himself in Zach Butters. A very, very juicy price point. Who do we trade out to him? Well, if you look at my team, I think Xavier Lindsay is one guy that needs to go. Eventually, Hewitt will be upgraded. Vicentini is another one. Then we have, dead rookies like Clay Hall, Campbell Gray, as I spoke about, so on and so forth. So I think Xavier Lindsay is definitely one that needs to go. He's got that high break even now. And if we were to bring in Butters, so we've got a little bit of money in the bank, but not enough. I think it's about 180K that we've got in the bank to put on the head of Lindsay, but we still fall short of Butters by around about 70.3K. So we need to make a second trade to fund this trade. Campbell Gray, as I spoke about, we could use him, but the guy we want to bring in terms of rookie is Zach Johnson. Scored an 84 on the weekend, has a break even of negative 65. So he's probably the hottest cash cow out at the moment. So to get him into our team, Zach Johnson, who is a mid-only, we would have to shuffle deck chairs if we try and use Campbell Gray, but I tried it earlier and we fall short by around about 10K. So we need to trade someone higher priced, and that player is Clay Hall, unfortunately. So even though he's got a very low break even, if Clay Hall's not going to get into the team, what's the use in carrying him? So it allows us just enough money to get Butters into our team. So Butters in, Zach Johnson comes in as well. And that leaves us with 3.3K in the bank, so we can just squeeze in this trade. So it's Xavier Lindsay and Clay Hall to Butters and Zach Johnson. So we'll complete that trade, all those trades there. And we will optimize things now. So switch things around on field. Warner's got the bye, so we can bring McRae on field. They're saying that he will be fit and available to play this round, thank the Lord, provided that he does get through main training, Jack McRae. So obviously returning from that punctured lung, and that will be a welcome sight. So outside of that, we only really have the 2 primos missing this round, which is incredible. Warner and Nick Dacos. Everyone else is playing. I have a full array of players on field, 23 players, including the flex. So that I don't think I can remember a bye round where I've had a full complement of players. So really feeling fortunate. I mean, compare it to round 13, and this probably speaks to the off round that I had. I ended up having 6 primos not playing. So, if you were in my position and you had a little bit of a down week, just, contextualize things in terms of how many primos you had out. You may have had, been up against teams that only had 5 primos out, 4 primos out, 3 primos out. And those teams, obviously, more often than not, would score better than your team. So just sort of hold that in, the front of your mind. Don't be too displeased if you have a bit of an off week in a given buy round, because as I always say, look at the buy period as a whole and don't, I guess, look at the 1 week sample size snapshot of how your team is, because it will vary from week to week. I've gone from, as I said, having 6 primos out to now having all primos starting bar 2. So, it could be worse. It could definitely be worse. That's for sure. Outside of that, that is how we are placed. So let's have a quick run through with captains and vice captains. So I think Cherry's probably one guy we want to almost perma-captain. Plays the third last game of the round, so he will probably be our captain. We could go for Basilenka earlier that day on the Saturday against Essendon. He is projected for a 144, but I am more keen on the man that I brought in last week in Lebonton. He will be our vice captain against the Saints, who he plays quite well against. So there is that. We could easily go for Butters, but you would think the D's put Langdon on Butters, or even or probably more so Butters than anyone else, Connor Rosie or anyone. So I don't think we will do that, because we would have to, use the captaincy on Butters, and we don't want to run that risk. So comfortable with Bont with the 130. And then, if he doesn't score what we were hoping, we will gladly put the captaincy on Tristan Cherry, the red hot cherry pie. Outside of that, let's have a quick look at how we're shaping up for round 15 and 16 for the buys. Now, round 15 is actually not too bad. We're only missing Track, Rankin, and Hewitt. Warner comes back into the team, likewise Dacos. So missing 2 primos in Track and Rankin. I've gained 2 primos off the bench coming off their bye in Dacos and Warner, so they cancel each other out. And we might be able to wrangle, some DPP and play Zach Johnson as well. And we will have, again, a full complement of 23 players. And then round 16, this is, I think, going to be the round that troubles most people. But we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 players on the dot playing. And that's counting Matt Carroll as well from Carlton, if he can stick around in their team. So, yeah, that's probably one thing that I'm a little bit worried about. But, we'll just have to grin and bear it. And, we've still got a couple of weeks of trades to do to really put ourselves in a better position where we can maybe go into the week with 19, maybe 20 players, and they given around. But with that, ladies and gents, I think that is it for our team talk this week. If you are, of course, watching us on YouTube, feel free to hit that subscribe button and give us a like. Hit the notification bell as well to be notified of when our content does drop. And likewise, if you may not have seen our social posts that we were having our self-imposed bye week, you can be notified of any posts that we put up as well on YouTube and any, of course, content that we do put up as well. And likewise, if you are tuning in to our audio podcast via Spotify, Apple, iTunes, or whatever you want to, platform you want to use, feel free to give us a rating, which you can do, and also as well a review. So if you are liking what we're putting out here, if you want to show your support, let us know, because that's the best way to do it. And with that, ladies and gents, I will once again thank you all so much for all your support, all your kind words that you've sent through regarding the arrival of my newborn son. And really, as I said, it's a very strange thing to think about me being a dad, but I'll just it'll take some getting used to. But every time I see him, it fills me with the sort of love and warmth that SuperCoach never will. We all love SuperCoach, and, we all get frustrated at, players not scoring well from week to week and, someone having an off week. But really, it does give you a bit of perspective, I think. And as much as I love SuperCoach, when it comes to, especially the community side of things, all of you kind folk out there in the SuperCoach Edge community, I do really have now a greater appreciation for things in life and, what's important, what's not. And, becoming a dad is definitely one of those. So again, thank you for all your support. We will be back, of course, with our SuperCoach Edge episode proper this coming week. And, of course, we will have regular programming from here on out. apologies if I've minced words, if I stumble over, sentences. I am operating on close to no sleep. So those of you out there who are parents, you will definitely understand. For those of you who are yet to become parents, you will understand at some stage or another. But it is a joyous time, 100%. And it's something that is just an incredible experience. But with that, ladies and gents, thank you as always for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.